Let's see. So welcome everybody to October's BF Zoom. And today we have some really exciting news for you guys, new creation. And we have Katarina Wallentin on with us today, who is, it's so hard to find a title for you because you do and create so much, but we'll call you the communications coordinator. I don't know, for Access for Dane. And is like the lead of the Being You facilitators, certified facilitators, and works so much across Access. But when it comes to Being You and all the creations around that, Katarina is such an integral part to all of that. So she's coming on today so we can talk about this wonderful new idea we have for all of you guys to facilitate and really create more with Being You.
And so welcome. Yes.
Welcome.
This is, somebody wrote to us the other day and said, did the book come out 2011 or 2013? And I keep not remembering, but I think it was 2011. So it's been a while in the making. And when it came out, there were a lot of people who wanted to do evening classes or longer classes, or all kinds of classes around the book. And in the beginning, it's really like, I don't know. So when I started to do bars, that was probably 9 years ago when I learned bars, I had a really hard time finding some of the positions. Well, I had a hard time finding energy in general when I started Access. I didn't know what it was at all. But when I started to teach bars or facilitate bars classes, over the years, it's changed. Like now, if I facilitate bars, people find the spots really easy. They're like, chunk, oh, there they are. And with the Being You book, it's kind of similar. When it came out, it was something so new that today we talk a lot about Being You, and Being You is talked about everywhere today. Like you can find it in, it's even not just Be You, but actually Being You, this moving form of Being You that came with a book that I don't think anybody had ever heard before, where you actually, I don't know what it's called in English, but you make it instead of Be You, you're Being You. You're actually continuously being you, which is slightly different than Be You. But in the beginning, when it came out, it was like a new concept in the world. So Dane didn't really get that anybody facilitate that at that point. We're all still exploring it together. And then over the years, a lot of facilitators were asking if they could do Being You classes. So we started, I think it's 3 years ago now, we started the Being You facilitator program, and we started to train Being You facilitators, and they started to do classes all over the world. And the more languages we have the book in, the more languages, the class can be in with the book. We even do classes now in languages where we don't have the book yet, where it's still in translation. And during that time, a lot of BFs have also asked if they could do a book club, or if they could do an evening, or if they could just talk about the book. And some have just gone out, there's been book clubs on Facebook by BFs where they just gone through the book and read it or talked about it. And finally, we just came to this point where, it's time for the book to go out and be everywhere. And you are the ones in Access who are everywhere. You're literally everywhere at this point. I think there's facilitators in what is it, Emily, 127 countries or even more?
BF's in 97 countries, I think.
Oh, and there's nearly 100 countries in the world. You are there. So by kind of saying that you can take this book and you can facilitate evening classes, the book will go even further. And we would like the book to be in your language before you do an evening class. And we have some other things we would like you to do before us first. And the book is being translated to many more languages as we speak. It is in so many languages right now. We're even translating it to Hindi. It's taking a while, but we're moving on it. So it's coming. So that's kind of where this started. It's like, if you look at that whole journey of the book from when it came out 2011, and it was more like a new concept, it was kind of trying its feet in the world. And then it's become its own entity. It has its own energy. It like moves on its own through the world. It pulls people in. I actually think the book wanted you to facilitate these evening classes. I don't think we had anything to do with it.
I think the book went,
I think the book went, oh, it's going too slow. You know, I need to get out to more people and reach more people. And that's really where you guys come in. And I see that there are like 37 comments in the chat. So somebody has to tell me the questions.
Don't worry. I will let you know if there's a lot of it's just about translation right now and like making sure
cool.
that lines.
Cool. So I'm not going to check the chat at the moment. So
don't worry about it.
So what we would like though, I asked Dane before this call and I said, so what is it that they need to have when they facilitate these evening classes? What is it, you know, what do they need to know? And the only thing he said was they need to be willing to be vulnerable. That's really the only thing. To facilitate an evening class about being you, you have to be willing to be you. You have to be willing not to be perfect. You have to be willing to let people in, to be that vulnerable space that you are when you be you. And that, it was so cool because there was like, that is like the main energy. And to get that energy, to get a taste of that, what he really would like is that you have been to a Being You class, either with him. It could be a 3.5-day class, or it could be a 1-day class with him, or it can be a 2.5-day class with one of the Being You facilitators, just so you get a sense. And I know that energy exists. I mean, Being You exists in all of Access. We have it in every class. We talk about Being You in every class. And there is a very particular, special, I don't know, unique energy in a Being You class. I can't even describe it, but I've been to all kinds of classes in Access, and the Being You classes still, for me, rock my world every time when I go to one, because there's something that occurs in them that's like magic, that taps into that space of creating you, being you, rediscovering you, recreating you, and doing that from that space of total vulnerability, because that's the only space where you're not defined. Anyway, now I talked a lot now, but that's like the basic outburst. The book is calling to you to go out in the world and take it with you. Emily, you have to help me. Where else do I go?
Okay, that was wonderful. So we could talk a little bit. You started to talk about what they need to complete, like what we would like to have them do before they facilitate a class. And then I can, because it's a little bit different than the other interclasses that we've created for you guys.
Yeah, so let's give you a little bit of the logistics. Okay, we go to logistics. So basically, the prereqs, I would say, for facilitating one of these, we call them something that I forgot. It was a brilliant name. What was it? Stepping into being. Yeah. So Stepping into Being is the name of these classes. So the prereqs you need to facilitate a Stepping into Being, well, you can do a Being You class with Dane, either a 3.5-day or a 1-day Being You class with Dane, or you can do a 2.5-day with one of the amazing Being You facilitators who are actually doing classes all over the world, and they may be closer to you. Dane only does maybe 2-3 per year, so that's less. We do have some 1-day classes. You can do them online too. So you can do with one of the Being You facilitators online. You can do one with Dane online, but you need one of those Being You classes, 1 day or longer, under your belt before you facilitate these classes. So that's the first part. So once you have those prereqs, you will get like a tiny manual, like a little workbook that you can use during that evening class. So that's a Stepping into Being mini manual, mini workbook, and it includes a few of like the basic tools that are from the book. It basically it comes from the book. So if you read the book, you have a bit more material, but that is what you can give to all your participants, and you can print it out. I think it's like 6 or 8.
Screen share while you're talking about it.
Yeah. And it's a really cool little manual, because it actually covers some of those. Oh, we get to see your whole
everything.
This is the look of the mini guide, and then you have that you're the facilitator, and you write the name, and here we go. So here comes the mini guide. And it's a little bit about access consciousness, and then about Dane, about being you. And then you come down to some of the being you tools. And you don't have to do all of these tools in the evening class. You can pick, what works, because people are going to ask you questions. They're going to, hopefully, if you don't live in Sweden, then you have to tease them into asking questions. But if you live in other countries that are not as shy, then they will ask you questions, and you don't have to take them in order. You can really just follow the energy and see where they take, even those questions. There are some great questions. You were just there. Even those questions, if you look at these, so one, sometimes people, if you look at the second question here, it's one of my favorite questions, actually. What will it take to have total clarity and ease with all of this? I've used this question so much ever since I started Access. Anytime I get really stuck with something, and it can really be anything, you can use this question, and just by giving that question to somebody in your class, you may change everything for them. It is this little manual includes a lot of the tools, so you can you can both facilitate them on what comes up using these tools, and you can introduce the tools that they can bring home and use in their life. So you have quite a few in here. They're all, and then you have some more resources at the end. So I think,
and then we have graphics too. I can just quickly show.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, Katarina, these are not going to be on the Ning directly, because we need to make sure before you facilitate it and have the manual and the graphics that you've done one of the Being You classes. So we will send these to you when you've got the prereq and you're ready to facilitate it.
And we will translate these to, right?
Yeah.
The quote.
Yeah, they're in translation right now. Yeah. They're just
to the languages that we have the book in. Now, I would really say, I think they're very pretty. I hope you use them. I would really say that one of the things that I would recommend if you would like to do these classes is to come to one of the Being You facilitators and go to one of their classes, because each of us have a different way of facilitating Being You. It's because we're us. We're all different yous. So if there is one in your area, I would go and check it out. And it is so amazing to hear how different people facilitate, how different they do this and how they use the tools. And what you'll discover is that, you may use the tool one way and somebody else may use the tool a slightly different way. And it kind of increases your toolbox for Being You, both for your bars classes and for Being You classes. I mean, really, all of these tools are amazing to use in bars classes as well. Some of you I know, I recognize, and you've done bars and Access for a very long time, and some of you are new. And these tools really, they're brilliant tools to bring into a bars class, whatever comes up. Most of these tools you can use, just like the bars manual. It's like an extra additional support system for you.
And we do have some questions now that I will start going over. Yuri, you have your hand raised. Do you want to ask one out loud? I can't tell if you came off mute for a second. So you can ask one if you have one, or maybe you just have your hand raised. But you have to unmute if you have one. While she's figuring that out, or he.
I think
Sarah
Yuri is a he.
I think so too. Sarah Healy is asking if you're a CFMW, so that is a BF or someone who's taken a choice of possibilities. Can you facilitate this class without having to take the Being You intro? The answer to that would be no. So because it's a Being You class, as Katarina said, when we talked to Dane, we'd really like you to have the energy of a Being You class before you facilitate it. So that's either, and we'll make this really clear on the Ning for you guys, but it's either a 3.5-day class with Dane, a full 1-day class with Dane. Sometimes he does intro classes, so not an intro, but a full 1-day class, or one of the 2.5-day classes with the Being You certified facilitators that are all around the world too. And I can put the link in here.
And we actually have 28 Being You facilitators who can facilitate these 2.5-day classes. I mean, there are all kinds of different kinds of Being You facilitators. Some of them do shorter classes, some of them do longer, but we have quite a few that do these longer. So hopefully you can find one close to you that you can go to. And
Kat, yes. And we'll make sure to put the link for you guys to all those class listings for, by the Being You facilitators, so you can find them easily. This Humera is asking, if we have already taken a Being You class, will the Stepping into Being You class show up on the listing to list so that it will show up in their posting? Where can we download the manual? Can you give us access for the manual if we already are ready to give these classes?
I love that. That's like great enthusiasm. And Emily, I have no idea it will show up. I think you kind of have to apply so that we can put, like, you have to tell us, I'd like to facilitate Stepping into Being, and then we'll do a little magic thing with a wand on the website, and then it happens. But I think you actually have to take action. And please, Emily, where do they send? Do we have that yet? Where they tell us?
Yeah, so I will put in, I think the easiest way, I'm going to send you guys a Google form in the follow-up email for this, and we can put it on the Ning too, so you all can find it, and I'll put it in the Facebook group as well. And I'll have you fill out, it says, yes, I've put your name if you've done a Being You class already. And then what we have to do is we're going to have to, our website team is going to have to manually enable you to have this class posting. So be patient with us, as it might, depending on how many of you immediately write us back, it might take a little bit of time to get it on your menu, on your drop down. But that is the easiest way. And they're working on another workaround, but it's not quite done yet. So at this time, we do need you to tell us, hey, I've done this class and I do want to facilitate. Or if you take a class in the future, then you let us know, hey, I'm ready to facilitate this. And
is that a separate link you're going to provide, or should they email bars at, or?
You can also email us at bars@accessconsciousness.com, and our team will then send you the link to the form. It will be easier probably than all of you emailing bars@accessconsciousness.com to get the link in the email, and we'll put it on the Ning. But yes, you can do that, and it might be, the form is going to be the easiest way to get it. So if you don't get the form or can't find it, then you could email bars@accessconsciousness.com.
Hey, I see a question just popped there. No, it really is. I know there's a lot of Being You classes circling around, but it really is. So let me try again. So it's for the Being You facilitators, it's a 2.5 weekend class. So if you want to do it with the Being You facilitators, it's a 2.5 weekend. If you do it with Dane, it's a 1 day or a 3.5 day. And, Dane he's fast. So if you go to one of his 1 day, you'll like get a crash course. And I would say, I know we say that a lot, but any of these classes you take will contribute to the rest of your business. It will contribute to you. It will contribute to the rest of the business, and really to the future too. So, and I'm so excited that some of you are saying you want to do this already. And I would love to hear how it goes. I don't know how we do that, Emily, like how we best do that. We
have another Zoom with Being You facilitators in November.
Awesome. Yeah.
So about a month from now. So we can hear like how it's going, and they can help like you guys with questions about the class and all that sort of stuff.
And they can also, because it's interesting, like Being You is if you look at it, it should be one of the easiest subjects ever, right? Because it's about being you. So it should be the easiest thing to explore together with a group. And yet it takes I would say it takes a lot of courage. If you're really willing to go there, it takes a lot of courage, because you have to be willing to be that space that is you being you, that invites them to step into being them. Because you're like, really everything you facilitate and what you say, that's one part of it, but a huge part is the energy that you're willing to be. And we have like people who've been around for a while, and we have new people on here. And I would say what I noticed in the beginning when I started to do Access, that one of the biggest changes for me was that the more I was willing to be me, the more people around me started to not react, but started to change the way they were being with me. My whole family changed without ever taking an Access course. They don't even talk to me about Access. They try to avoid it at any price. And they all changed. Because if you are being something different, something around you, people around you, what goes on around you will change. And in these classes, you are being that invitation. And again, you're being that in bars too. Of course you are. Like, you're being that a lot. But here you get a chance to explore that with them. You get to actually kind of point out what occurs when somebody's being them, what occurs for them when they are being them. It's some of the most fun things you can do. So, any other questions that I missed now in my outburst?
Yeah.
Yes.
Your outbursts are wonderful. Someone's asking, how long should the class be and what should we charge? And these are common questions we often get. So follow the energy. If we ask that a minimum, like the other intro classes we've made for you, we ask that a minimum of 35 US roughly be charged, and you can definitely charge more. The information in this class is amazing, phenomenal. But you can choose. We just ask you don't charge below that. And you can, what I would suggest is having these books for sale at the class. So you can buy books in bulk as a BF, and we'll give you that link again. It's on the Ning, but so that you can have the books so people can buy them after the class. When you buy them in bulk, you only pay 50% if you get 10 or more at a time. So you can make money that way as well. And yes, go ahead, because I lost my train.
I just wanted to add something about the books, because I was thinking about the books. Yes, have the books there. I would also maybe consider having unicorn books there, especially if they're in your language. And a lot of the unicorn books are being translated as we speak. We have them in, I can't remember, French, Spanish, and Portuguese, I think. And they're coming in at least 5 more languages. So if the unicorn book is in your language, if you don't know what that is, it's a children's book that Dana and I wrote, and it was released in March. And it's also a great thing to sell at those classes, because it's about being you again, but from a more children's point of view. So that could also, you could consider having that one there and sell that too. Especially since some of the people that come may have read the Being You book already. They may have read it a while ago if you're in a language that it's been around, but they want to come and talk about it. They want to come and find out more. A lot of people in the book clubs, they don't read the Being You book the first time when they join the book club. They read it because they come on the book club because they want to do it together. A lot of people may come to these classes with you because they read the book and they want to talk about it with someone. They want to ask about these tools or whatever that came up. So don't hesitate to talk about the book, especially if you read it. You have this manual, but you also have the book, and you can talk about what it created for you. What did it change for you? I mean, if you hated it, you can talk about that. That's part of being vulnerable. So it's just use yourself and use your experience, and yeah, definitely sell those, have those there for sale and make some more money for your business. That's, why not? Anything else with that part?
I would just say for length, because it is an intro, you guys can choose, but I would say 2 to 3 hours would be great. And you don't have to go through every single thing in the manual. Like, cats follow the energy and the questions, and it's there for you so that you do have tools to go over with them. They can ask questions about it, and go with what and where the class would desire to go. And that's why definitely, if you haven't read the book, read the book before you facilitate the class, for sure.
We're not going to check that, though.
Yeah,
I saw that question.
That, so.
We're not going to be able to check it, but I would suggest reading it. I agree with Emily. That may be a good idea, but I see Grant was asking if you have to. We're not gonna put it as a requirement. Carolyn was asking if you. Carolyn was asking if you can do a class with book readings. Now, book reading is more like the book club, and right now it's still Being You facilitators that do the book clubs. Now, I would say you can definitely read from the book during this class. Just don't use it as a book club. Just don't do, a book club setup. But if you'd like to read part of the book in the class, of course you can. Like, use the book, because the book is part of this, and it's based on that. What else did you find there?
Someone asked about, Monica said, my stepping into being you already appears in my certifications, but it says it expired on October 4th and is required to renew. That is because we added it to everybody and then we had to change it. So that's why it looks like it expired. That's when we actually changed it. So we need you to know. Yes, we need to have you apply, or if we find a way to know when you have taken the 3.5 day and the 1 day in our system, and it can automatically add it to we will do that. But right now we need you to apply. So that's why it says that right now. But right now, no one has it active until you let us know, yeah, I want to facilitate these. And then just give us a little bit of time to get it up so you can post it.
Can I just say the book is so brilliant? The book made the class be posted in all your drop downs and then took it away as a teach. Now you have to apply to facilitate it. So you're going to see it every time you go in and post a class. I think the book just has this amazing capacity to create. I like it. Is there a question from Maida?
Maybe just background noise.
Yes.
I'm gonna yes, okay. Okay. Anyone else have a question? Someone's asking, I meant because if the book is not yet translated to Dutch, can someone facilitate the intro in English and explain it in Dutch? So not exactly translating, but explaining. Kat, yeah, go ahead.
It's a really good question. And we had said only the languages the book was in, but let us look at that. Like, I understand what you're saying. So we have to look at that, because it would mean that we translate the manual as well. Like, because you can't do the class without the manual. So right now it's just the languages the book is translated to, right, Emily? I'm not.
Yeah. And the reason for that is you might be able to talk about it and facilitate it, but when your participants go home, they don't have a way to buy the book in their language, and so that's why we've done that. And I get some of you are brilliant with language and explaining, so we will look at that. And right now that's why we've waited until the book is actually translated in that language.
I must say, though, maybe that's the book saying it should be in Dutch, and maybe time for that too, Caroline. So yeah, thank you for popping the question. Yeah, I don't understand the
Other
French questions.
I don't understand the foreign language questions either. So there might be a translator on that can help ask, or I can put them in the chat and Google Translate here in a second if I have time to do that.
Some are asking if this call is being translated.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And then there was a French question about how do they request to facilitate the class, which I think you covered. A link will be going out.
We will send you a form, yes. Mm-hmm. And I will post it on the Ning and also send it in an email, and we'll put it in the BAR's Facebook group too.
And we have quite a few Being You facilitators on this call right now. I see some of them. And if you are Being You facilitator, wave so that they see you. And those are some of the people that are going to be on then in a month, Emily, and kind of assist with the facilitation. And I take the chance and come on, even if you haven't done a class then, just come on and listen to and see. Because this is all, again, like I learn every day how to facilitate. It's like this adventure that never ends, and in this particular theme of Being You just takes it to more and more depth in a way, because there's always more to discover about Being You. So come on that call too, and then you can ask more questions that come up maybe over this coming month about this, and we'll probably discover things that we can change and make better as well.
And we have a French BF asking, do we know yet how they will get the resources for the class?
We will send them to you. So after you apply, we're going to have to manually, I think at this time, until we get a better system, we'll email you the graphics in your language and the manual.
Okay.
We'll email you a link, I think, where you can download all of it, would be my guess. So
exactly.
Yeah, so kind of like when you get the audio, so when you get different kinds of material. So once you applied and you have it and you can facilitate it, you'll get all the material, hopefully in your language.
And Joanna's asking, is it correct that we can take an online class with Dane, the Being You class? Are there past classes that can be purchased? Yes, absolutely. So any Being You, like the 3.5-day Being You Changing the World classes with Dane. There was just one in Mexico a week ago. But there's anything in the last year, I would suggest, because the 3.5-day class with Dane also counts as your renewal class as a BF. So each year within that year to renew as a BF, there's different classes that you can take, like Foundation, COP, a 3-day body class, and the 3.5-day class with Dane also counts for that. Those classes need to be recent within the last year. So if you're looking to renew and you haven't taken a Being You class, that could be a really cool class to take to renew. And then you'll also be able to facilitate this intro. So you can do an upcoming Being You class or purchase one of the replays from the Access shop.
And so these classes, so like there's facilitators here from the Being You facilitators from the US, they're from Germany. I can't see everyone, but I'm sure there's in Brazil. So they are everywhere. And then the ones that Dane are doing next year are going to be, it looks like, I don't know if we posted all of these, but Russia is going to be one place, Argentina, and there's one place, India, I think, are the ones next year for the 3.5-day Being You classes. So you have some of those, in continuously we have the 2.5 with the Being You facilitator. So there's a lot of that you can explore in addition. And a lot of you have probably been, to a Being You class too. We do realize that. So you're ready to go. You can start right now.
And we have people asking if they can do this intro online.
No. I think, Emily,
that's no. And that is also different. So this little intro has a few things that are different than the other intros we've done for you. So
just to confuse you. Yeah.
But this is an in-person only. Just because we do have Being You facilitators and everything like that. So even if you're a CF, we do ask that this intro is for in-person only. And if someone asking again, if I do a COP, can I facilitate the Being You intro? No, only if you have also done a Being You class. Okay, so this really, you have to have done, and we'll make this very clear on the Ning and the email replay, because I get it's confusing, because someone else is asking, what if I've done a Being You beginning class with Dane or Being You magic? Those are in like evening classes with Dane that are Being You, do not count. It needs to be a 1-day class or a 3.5-day with Dane or a 2.5-day with a Being You certified facilitator. And we'll make it super clear for you. And yeah, if you've done it in the past, if it was a couple years ago, yes, you can facilitate the class. Yeah, we just have to.
I think it's so funny that we're so not consistent in access.
Never.
Look at it.
Sorry.
But if you look at it, that's just like you. If you look at you, are you ever consistent? Do you ever do the same thing or, stay the same all the time? So just, look at it as it's a very, access is being access. Trust access to not be consistent. I think that's a much better idea. And we can put all the dates for those classes there, and we'll put a link to all the Being You facilitated classes in the email, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, Monica, you're asking, yes, it was not correct in the email. We basically missed checking with Dane properly. So we know that it's no longer just Foundation. So the first email, Emily, that went out was not correct. Yes. Somebody was asking.
The reminder email is correct. The first email said Foundation, which was not correct after we talked with Dane, it got modified.
It happens. So I'm sorry about that the first information wasn't correct. And this is really the information that is correct. So please follow what's said on this call and what gets sent out after the call.
That first email was just a test.
Yeah.
Just to keep you on your toes.
No, it's a trick by the book again to get you all on here. It's that book. It's a very tricky book. It has a lot of different, things under its, I don't know, wing, what you say in English. Any other questions? Any questions?
There's one about the Netherlands. Being you facilitated in English in the Netherlands, where the facilitator understands English. Does that count?
Well, this is the tricky, because I know, like in Sweden, for example, where I live, I could easily facilitate one of these classes in English, and I could sell the book in English. Now, I actually don't have to, because we do have the book in Swedish, but pretend we don't have the book in Swedish. I could do that, and it would be completely normal, because most, if you go to any kind of class in Sweden, you would buy books in English, because we all speak English so well. I think it's a very similar situation in the Netherlands. So that is actually, we do need, so as long as you facilitate the class in English, I think you should be able to, because the book exists in English. So I would say, let's look at that. And because it'd be really strange otherwise, you would have to go abroad to facilitate. You could facilitate the class then in the UK, but not in Holland. So I totally get your question. So let me look at that with Emily, how we phrase that and how we put it. But I would say, as long as you facilitate in English, the class, and not in Dutch, it should be fine. I know it's a little odd, but it just doesn't make any sense that you would have to go to another country to do a class in English about the book to be able to do it. So good question.
An earlier question, which I get doesn't apply to a lot of you, but I want to address it. It says, Frederic is saying, would SOP be a contribution in this class? Can we add it to the class? Do you want to address that?
Do you mean doing SOP sessions?
Maybe.
Frederic, I would not add SOP sessions to this. This is really an introductory class, and if you want to do SOP sessions in a class that's Being You, I think the best thing is to become a Being You facilitator. A lot of the Being You facilitators add SOP sessions in their more longer classes, but to do SOP sessions in an intro like this, I haven't asked Dane, but my guess would be it's not really appropriate. And it's actually quite a challenge to do sessions while you facilitate a class. It takes a lot of training. So right now I would say no. I can double check with Dane, but I would say no to doing sessions. And the Japanese person who lives in Australia, yes, of course you can do classes in English in Australia. That's fine. And have the book in English. You don't need to do them in Japanese. That's such a funny, we're so global that, if you're from Holland, you go to France, you do the class in English, and then you probably sell the books in French and English. So it's all going to be a mix anyway, if you play with it. Just honor, we put the guidelines there for a reason. We don't put them there to make it complicated. We often put them there, and we always put them there, I would say, because it creates something greater. So honor them. They're not there to fuck with you. They're there to create something greater. And sometimes we don't know, like with the SOP sessions, I haven't thought about that. So that's just an initial question, and then we can look at it further. And
I think then Frederic is clarifying, he'd been to a body class where he saw people like maybe trading SOP or someone gifting an SOP. Which
somebody
we'll
else
see at classes. Yeah, someone else,
yeah,
as participants.
That's not something that they can do that. They can, they can trade bars during if you have a class and people exchange body processes and symphony sessions, that's fine. Absolutely. I thought you meant you doing an SOP session while you facilitated the class. So thank you for clarifying. And the Turkish question, I just have no idea. It's such an amazing language.
No, but then she translated it. So it's, what is the price for the Turkey's 2.5-day class with the Being You facilitator? Will the price be published?
Yeah, Turkey's a 65% country now. So we would have to look at what that actually means. I don't know the price in my head. Do you have a Being a facilitator who has gone to Turkey or is in Turkey on the call? No.
Katarina, I can answer that.
Tukba, yay!
Hi.
Hi.
While translating. They need to log in Access website, and when they register to class, they can see the price on the right-hand side down the page.
Not only a translator, also a customer service person, see many hats, knows exactly what to answer. So yeah, so log into the website and then you can see the correct price for you with the 65% and you can see what you pay. Thank you, Tuba. And then we have some more questions about kids. So kids under 15 are free?
Yes, same as that. And sometimes people have asked, if I have a whole class of kids, like say you did a class for all kids under 15, and maybe you're printing, like when people ask about bars and you're printing bars manuals, some people gift those, and sometimes they charge like $5 for a manual, and that is up to you. But as our access policy, like the classes, we let kids 15 or under come to for free because they're such a contribution to the class. So same for this class as well.
Do you have any other questions? Yes, CFs can facilitate the intro.
If they've done a Being You class, right?
Yes. Yeah. Same prereqs, but we're not going to forbid them to do it. That'd be really funny. Cool. Okay, I love that, the answers come in the thread.
And we will make sure, I know, like we've been kind of laughing because we are just keeping you on your toes with everything that's different for this class. So we'll make sure to make the links really easy for you guys to find. But if you go to the Access website too, if you ever click on, classes, it's a main menu on the Access site. And then there's a drop down where you can find Dane's classes all in one place. You can also click on Being You classes, and then you'll see all the different just Being You classes come up. So it's an easy way to find classes by topic, and it will have the different Being You facilitator classes on there as well. And I'll make sure to put the links in the email for you, but just so you know, that's a good way to look on the website to find classes by topic too, if you're looking for particular ones.
Is there any of the Being You facilitators, do you guys want to say something about what it's like to facilitate these classes? Anyone
I can
wants
say something.
Lale.
Hello, everyone. Well, I can say no two classes are ever the same. And it's been not just the Being You classes of the Being You classes, but it affects every part of my life. Every part of everything I be, do, have. So it's just been such a contribution. And there, like you were talking about that space of vulnerability. Wow, it really does. It really takes away all the layers and allows you to be vulnerable with you. And then that space that opens up for everybody else. And it's so beautiful to watch the transformations in the class. No matter how happy people seem, the layers go away and they see the true them. Is just so beautiful. And even people who come thinking they have the most difficult lives and everything's impossible, they walk away knowing they are possible. So, I don't know, I get emotional each time I think about this.
It's beautiful.
So, it's for you as much as it is for everybody else. And like Dane says, be you and you change the world, change everything around you, but you also change the possibilities that are available on the planet. So thank you. I think this is amazing. Thank you for putting this together.
And it is interesting because, when I think at least since I was a kid, I always heard the best way to learn is to teach somebody something. Like the best way to learn anything really is to teach somebody something. And this is not really teaching, but that invitation that Walale is talking about, that it's such a gift to oneself every single time. Like the greatest facilitation you can ever have is walking into one of those classes, and you have to lower your barriers. There is absolutely no way to facilitate a Being You class without being willing to, to be vulnerable and to let the barriers down. So if you want to give yourself a gift of that, like that energy that Lana described, you could try it, give it a go, do one evening and see what it's like for you. And I get so excited that this is, going out to 97 countries possibility to do. I think that's amazing.
Is there another question or another Being You facilitator that wants to add anything?
Yeah, I would like to add something. Katarina?
Hi.
It's really, I mean, it's such an honor to facilitate the class and take the participants where they can go. But for me, so much has changed. As a facilitator, I have become so much more comfortable in being me, no matter when and where. And that is a tremendous gift too. And I really wanted to point that one out. And it has created such a tremendous impact in my life and changed so much. So go for it. I mean, I'm so happy that this is spreading out more and more and more and more, because we really need that Being You. People who are themselves just staying in the world in a different way.
And, thank you. It's amazing to hear all the descriptions of what it's gifting you. And also I'm looking at what it can create for the bars classes that you all are doing. Like what can it add to the bars classes? How much more ease and joy? You may already have an enormous amount of ease and joy, but how much more ease and joy can you have with those classes when you start tapping into this energy of Being You, of the book, of all these classes that are going on in the world? So what else is possible with that? And just being on this call somehow tingles those possibilities. Anyone else that want to jump in?
Yeah, I would love to jump in. Since I started facilitating Being You classes and became a Being You facilitator, along those lines, Kat, it's like every one of my classes has this Being You energy woven into it so more than ever. And it's just such a gift, like everybody else is saying, to us and to people, and to watch people's worlds just really melt with this invitation of Being You. And, we've probably all had that experience just reading the book, and like the relief that shows up in people's worlds when they get invited to this conversation and this space is, oh my God, it's totally addicting. I just love it. And it's so true that it just seeps its way into everything that you do, everything that you facilitate. It's so awesome. And it's really fun to hear the enthusiasm that everybody has on this call. I really am excited to see what we can all create together with this.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? We're about to end, right, Emily? I'm not...
Yep, we end usually at the top of the hour.
Yeah. So what else would you guys like to know before we end? It's all total clear now. We've stopped confusing them. They have no more questions. It's crystal clear. So what else is possible with this book and class and with you guys all over the world?
So we're so grateful you're so excited. And for those of you that have done a Being You class in the past and you're like, I want to go out and facilitate it, we will send you that form that replay email should be going out in 24 hours. And so we'll have the form for you and you can fill it out. And then, like I said, give us a few days because it's going to be a manual ad at this point until it's a little bit better of a system. But we will get you added as soon as we can. And it will be like a bars class. It'll be $20 to post it on the Access website. And we as Access, when we create these intros for you guys, we promote this class for you too on like Access social media. So we'll say, hey, there's a new class, Stepping into Being You, facilitated by bars, just like, you know, specialized bars facilitators around the world. And we link to all of your classes that you post. We create a special URL. So for all you BFs that do end up posting these classes, we also promote you as Access too. So thank you guys. Like Katarina said, the book is amazing and creating itself, getting everywhere out in the world. So thank you guys. And we'll make sure to clarify everything in the email again and on the Ning and get you guys that form for those of you that are ready.
Thank you, everyone. It was great being on and just perceiving the enthusiasm and possibility. So what else is possible? Bye.
Thank you, Katarina. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a million,
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.